Welcome back, everyone. It is Eric from Rare Candy, and today I'm back bringing you the fourth and final round of the recent League Challenge I got to go attend at Cape Fear Collectibles in Wilmington, North Carolina. So here in this video, over on the left, we have Daryl Gibbs. He's going to be playing Arceus V-Star with ArcTina V-Star. And over on the right, we have Dylan Bussert returning from the round 2 video I actually already uploaded, still playing that Gardevoir EX deck. No doubt, both decks here definitely have their fair share of pros and cons. Gardevoir does have like an unlimited damage cap to be able to knock out any of these multi-prize Pokemon that Daryl has, but Daryl, of course, does have cards like Iono, Judge, Path to the Peak, all of these cards that are very disruptive to the Gardevoir deck's core strategy. So we'll have to see if all of that disruption can sort of overcome all of these giant one-hit KO oriented attacks that Dylan no doubt is going to have at his disposal here. And guys, if you did miss any of the other rounds from this tournament, I did upload those already, and those will be linked down below in the description if you do want to check those out as well after this video. Okay, and it looks like we are getting underway here. Dylan does appear to be going first. He is going to open with a Ralts, and Daryl has, I believe that's an Arceus V there. And Dylan is going to play, it looks like, the Artisan Stadium cards. Of course, he can search his deck for a basic Pokemon that does not have a rule box and put it directly onto his bench. So you can see he's eyeing down that Celebrations Mew here. So, of course, Mew's just going to help him get set up a little bit better with that Mysterious Tail ability. He can look at the top 6 cards of his deck, choose an item that's there, put it into his hand. So maybe he can use that to find himself a Battle VIP pass. I'm sure it's the big card he's probably looking for here. So let's see, does he manage to find it? And he does. Found like a few of them, actually. So Battle VIP pass, of course, that's going to allow him to get 2 more basic Pokemon in play. And it looks like he's debating if he wants to play it just yet, but yeah, he definitely goes for it here. So let's see what he's going to grab. He could grab himself a Radiant Greninja, but I would imagine at least 1 Ralts coming down here. Okay, just 2 Ralts. That seems good. Beyond that from there, I'm not sure what else he can do. Looks like he's debating getting down the Zacian V, maybe using that Roar of the Sword ability. And it looks like that is what he's going to do. So Zacian V, he can use that ability to search his deck for a Psychic Energy, attach it to one of his Pokemon, and then it does end his turn. So he probably just wanted to get it down on the field just in case of like an Iono or a Judge or something like that. And also, it'd be at least a few turns before it can be knocked out. But going over to Daryl's turn, he does have, looks like, 2 Arceus. He's definitely going to be looking for just an energy attachment. That's the big thing with the Arceus deck on turn 1. You're actually pretty low maintenance. You just want to find your Arceus plus an attachment and then just sort of threaten, you know, a big turn 2. There, it looks like Daryl is making use of that Artisan Stadium, finding himself a Bidoof here. So that's going to be, of course, a big part of his draw engine if he can manage to evolve into a Barrel. And at this point, like I said, Daryl just needs an energy, and I think I did see one in his hand. Now, the next question is, does he attach to the active Arceus, or does he attach to the bench one? Because if Dylan can pop off and have a big, crazy, explosive turn 2 and knock out the active Arceus with energy, you know, he might be in some trouble. So there is definitely consideration to attaching to the bench. We'll have to see what route he's going to go here. So it looks like that's a Lightning Energy. So I guess Daryl is playing Flying Pikachu in the deck as well. That makes sense. But there is going to be a Judge. And so it looks like he's going to hang on to that Lightning Energy. I think he's saying, you know what? I kind of want to find myself a double Turbo Energy because at that point, I can at least use the Trinity Charge attack on Arceus V to at least get some energy in play. But it definitely is a little bit risky. Judge is only going to give both players here 4 cards. So I don't think Daryl has the greatest odds of hitting it here. But he's probably also thinking, you know what, my deck plays a ton of energy. Even if I don't hit the double Turbo Energy, there's still good odds that I hit another basic energy to attach. But let's see what he can find. Big 4 cards here. And he does manage to find the double Turbo Energy, so I'm sure he's pretty stoked about that. I think he also has Squabit and a Giratina V in hand, it looks like. Okay, so there is the double Turbo Energy, and does he play anything else down? Looks like he's not going to. So there he is, just going to Trinity Charge, getting to search out 3 basic energies from his deck and attach it to his Pokemon V in any way that he likes. Now, I didn't get a great look at Dylan's hand, but I think I saw a Manaphy and a Battle VIP pass at the least. So cards that aren't too particularly great, but maybe one of those other two cards there is a little bit better. We'll have to see. So Daryl's just going to be shuffling up over here. But, you know, no doubt Dylan's going to be looking for Croyas. That's the big thing he really wants to find here. So he's going to draw off turn. He does find himself a Ralts, but he just has a bunch of energy. So the good news is he does have that Mysterious Tail ability, so maybe that can find him a way to bail himself out of this hand. He's probably looking for like a Level Ball or like an Ultra Ball. Okay, Level Ball is definitely good. That will allow him to find a Pokemon with under 90 HP, which does include Curlia, which of course is going to be the big draw engine to his deck here. Okay, so he's going to grab that. And I would imagine we're probably going to see him leave the Memory Skip Ralts unevolved if possible. I think that's like the one Ralts you don't want to evolve here, just because it does give you access to a decent attack you could fall back on at some point, but Dylan's actually just going to evolve that one. I kind of disagree with that, but it might not end up mattering too much. He finds himself a research anyway, so, you know, if Dylan can just evolve all of his Ralts anyways, he probably would just prefer that. But on the off chance his hand was still dead, I think I would have preferred to see the Memory Skip Ralts remain there. But it looks like he does have an Ultra Ball and a rare candy, so we could see some sort of Gardevoir come into play this turn. Now, unfortunately, I don't think he actually has enough energy in the discard to really threaten like a knockout here. Like, so if he grabs Gardevoir EX, again, I don't think he's actually going to be taking like a one-hit KO or anything. So he might just have to concede that he's going to just use Curlia a little bit more to get set up here. But looking at Dylan's hand, he has kind of like a weird situation going on where every card in his hand he probably wants to keep. Like Ultra Ball is, I think, really the only thing that's a little bit flexible here. But like he kind of needs to keep counter stadiums for whatever path to the peak comes down. Probably wants to keep that reversal energy. Probably wants to keep the rare candy. And it looks like he's debating if he wants to go for another Ultra Ball here. So, Okay, so if he is going to play the Ultra Ball, I don't hate what he's choosing to get rid of here. Okay, there's going to be Gardevoir EX. So there is also a world where, in preparation of a path to the peak, he could even get some energy in play with Gardevoir. And he actually could even attack with Gardevoir EX. I know most of the time you use it just for its ability, but, you know, it's a pretty decent two-shotting Pokemon, and Dylan's really not in any danger of being return KO'd. So I think that actually is kind of a decent option for him to, you know, to attack this Arceus V here. He's going to have at least 2 turns with this Gardevoir safe in play. So I think that's actually kind of what I want to see here. It looks like Dylan is a little bit conflicted about what route he wants to go with this turn. But I guess the issue is, if he attacks with Gardevoir, it takes 6 damage counters, and that means Giratina V-Star could knock it out on a future turn potentially. But again, I don't think Giratina V-Star is threatening a knockout here, but instead he is going to attack with the Mew, just doing 30 damage. Or I believe it's 30. It's hard to tell if it's 20 or 30, but either way, he's getting in some chip damage, and there's going to be a V-Guard energy. And is this just another Trinity charge here? Oh, okay. There's going to be an Artisan. Okay. So he is going to get that Squavit, and if Daryl's hand is dead, he could risk it with the Squavit and see if he can draw into a single card that can bail himself out of this hand. We'll have to see. I'm not sure what that last card in his hand is, so I'm not sure if that is like a supporter or something like that, but worst case, if his hand is dead, he can put it at the bottom of his deck and see 1 additional card. But if nothing else, he's pretty much guaranteed to be able to get a prize this turn, since he can always use Power Edge with Arceus V to knock out this Mew. Okay, and there's the Squavit. What are we going to see here? I'm guessing it's not what Darryl wanted. He seems not very excited about what he drew there. Okay, it's a boss, which isn't the worst thing in the world, so he could take a knockout on a Corellia if he does so choose to do so. So that's not bad. He can at least weaken Dylan's draw engine a little bit here. Now, I will say the one downside to playing the boss, though, is that if Darryl top decks an Ultra Ball, he's actually not going to be able to play it. So part of me kind of wishes he would have just kept the boss for maybe next turn. Because right now, if he does have a dead hand, he just sort of reduced the amount of ways to bail himself out of this hand by like, what, 3 or 4 cards? Because I don't think he's played an Ultra Ball yet. But let's see how Dylan is going to respond over here. He's been fortunate enough he's not gotten hit with a Path to the Peak just yet. So he is going to be able to put on some pressure. But the next question is, does he play this Iono? Because he knows Darryl's hand is not doing too good. So he probably actually doesn't want to play this. So there's going to be a Super Odd. So at this point, you know, what does he actually want to do with this? If he does power up the Zacian, I think right now he can hit for what, 90, 120, 150, 180. So he's going to be a little bit shy of a KO. But there's going to be, it looks like the Refinement tossing away Iono. Okay, so using that ability on Corellia. Definitely makes sense because Darryl's hand is not very good right now, as far as we know. So okay, it looks like there is going to be a level ball. Probably just going to find another Corellia. Seems good. And so even though Dylan did toss away the Iono, he does have plenty of ways at drawing cards. He has this other Corellia he can just evolve into. And he also has the Shining Arcana Gardevoir as well to see some additional cards. Man, Dylan's draws are just not that great. You can see here he's even pretty frustrated with the cards he's seeing. So there's going to be the Shining Arcana Gardevoir. Now, he might be able to hit some extra energy here, which might help him get a KO. But unfortunately, those are not the cards he really wants here. So yeah, had he hit an energy with the Gardevoir, or any of those Corellias for that matter, he actually would have been able to get a KO on this Arceus, if I'm doing my math correctly. So kind of unfortunate there, I've got to say. So we might just see Mew smack this Arceus yet again. We'll have to see. It looks like Dylan, again, is a little bit conflicted here. Now, I will say this. Had he attacked with Gardevoir on the previous turn, he actually would be taking a KO here. But let's see what he's going to do. He does still have an Iono, and I don't think he's played a supporter, so he definitely could. It would be a little bit unfortunate to refresh Darryl's hand here, but if it means he gets a KO, I mean, there is like a world where like this could end up making some sense. But instead, Dylan's just going to soften up this Arceus yet again here. And let's see what is in Darryl's hand here. Okay, there's going to be a research, so he is back in the game. So no matter what, he's definitely guaranteed a KO here, but I'm sure he would like to get an Arceus down, maybe get a Path to the Peak, assuming he runs Path in the deck. I'm not sure his list, but if he's playing Arceus and ArcTina and Burrell, he's almost assuredly playing some copies of Path in this deck. So it looks like he's a little bit conflicted about what route he wants to take with his hand. Does he actually have an Arceus V-Star or an Ultra Ball? That's something I don't actually see just yet, so we'll have to see. Yeah, I think I see a Giratina, Iono, Nest Ball. Hard to tell what the other cards there were, but yeah, he's still able to take another KO with Power Edge here, so it's not the end of the world for him, that's for sure. So Dylan definitely needs to put on some pressure this turn. I think he probably just attacks with this Gardevoir here, just because he will be able to get a knockout with it. But there's going to be a Super Odd. So that's going to get him any combination of up to 3 Pokemon and or basic energy back into his deck. So it looks like he is going to get, looks like a Ralts and a Curlia back. And just going to use that Artisan to get the Ralts down. Makes sense. And again, I imagine this turn, we probably will just see this Iono come down. But it looks like he's going to go for the Shining Arcana. Okay, he does find himself a Fog Crystal, so that can guarantee him an energy here. Okay, yep, there's going to be the Psychic Energy. I think there might have even been consideration using... okay, but he's going to use Refinement here. I see what he's doing. Okay, so Dylan can evolve into this other Gardevoir, and it looks like that is what he's doing. So he was able to draw 2 with Curlia, then evolve, then see a few more cards here with Shining Arcana. But at this point, what is he really looking for? Because he's able to take a KO this turn. He probably actually would have liked to have hit energy with Shining Arcana, because he probably also does want to be able to power up one of these Gardevoirs to take a one-shot against a V-Star at some point. I mean, he always does have the Zacian V to guarantee like a one-shot on something at some point, but I'm sure he would rather be attacking with single prizers if at all possible here. But he should be able to finally get a KO here if I'm doing my math right. Okay, but there's going to be the Iono, and he didn't actually attach the Psychic Energy, which I'm not sure what's going on with that just yet, but seems a little bit odd to me. But right now, let's see, if he powers this thing up, he's hitting for, what, 90, 120, 150, 80, 210. So yeah, he's definitely going to be able to get this KO, that's for sure. Okay, and he does have a single Psychic Energy left at this point. So it looks like he prized, you know, quite a few if that's the case. I think 3 if I'm doing my math right here, but yeah. If nothing else though, he is going to be able to take this knockout. So of course he is going to be able to use Gardevoir EX's Psychic Embrace ability to charge up this Gardevoir, and just like the Zacian, it has an attack that does 60 plus 30 for every Psychic Energy attached to it. So this should be enough to knock out this Arceus V here. Okay, and he is going to attach to this bench Gardevoir. I actually do like this because once this active goes down, if he can get a couple of manual attachments down, he will be able to avoid, you know, the inherent damage cap that this card has by being powered up by the EX. Just because you are taking damage and you can only power up these Gardevoirs so much, so getting these extra manual attachments down preemptively is pretty big here. But there's going to be an Ultra Ball tossing away, it looks like an Arceus and a Switch. So I imagine we'll finally see an Arceus V-Star come down this turn. Seems like a good turn to make it happen. Okay, and we actually see, looks like a double Turbo Energy and a Path to the Peak. Both cards you are happy to see when you're the Arceus player. So I imagine we'll probably see Daryl use that Starbirth ability. Yep, he's using that. So that, of course, is going to allow him to grab 2 cards out of his deck here. Probably wants a supporter. Seems pretty good. Honestly, Iono plus Burrell actually seems pretty good because he has the Path to the Peak ready to go in hand. Okay, looks like he's a bit conflicted about what he wants to do, but here it looks like he's eyeing himself down a boss's orders, okay? So if that is the case, then we have to ask, what does he actually want to target down with the boss? If he is going to boss, he would maybe boss the other Gardevoir just because, you know, it does have that manual attachment already. But I'm really not sure. We'll have to see what route he's planning on taking this hand here. But, you know, Dylan has a decent sized hand. I think some hand disruption plus the knockout here doesn't seem that bad. But the Path to the Peak is definitely going to be big at shutting off this ability on Gardevoir EX, as well as the ability on Greninja as well. But he just wants this Path to the Peak to actually stick in play for at least a turn here. So he is going to use that Industrious Incisors ability on the barrel to refill his hand up to 5 cards here. Okay, and it looks like Darryl is playing the Cleansing Gloves, so if he actually can ever power up this Giratina V-Star with the Cleansing Gloves, he actually can take a one-shot on Gardevoir EX. So he might even just be like preemptively grabbing the boss in preparation of using it next turn. So there's going to be a Nest Ball. Let's see what he's going to grab here. We do see a Flying Pikachu V. I think there's a Spirit Tomb in there and another Giratina, but he's just going to opt to fail the search. But again, we haven't seen him play a supporter, so that is still a question up in the air if he is actually going to play that boss's orders. Now, if he has a Choice Belt, well, actually with the Cleansing Gloves, he can knock out this Zacian V if I'm seeing correctly. Because this Arceus V-Star is actually powered up by basic energies. So Cleansing Gloves plus Boss doesn't seem that bad here. But he is going to chase down this Gardevoir. Okay, it is sort of a looming threat, so I do get that. So I guess he's just thinking about saving the Cleansing Gloves to deal with the Zacian V or the Gardevoir on maybe a future turn. But if he wants to do that, then he needs another boss's order, so that is kind of an issue he's going to run into now. Unless he had another one in hand that I just didn't notice. Maybe just saving the boss entirely. Like, if you're going to knock out a Gardevoir, maybe just saving it would have been good, because if you're going to Path to the Peak anyways, this Gardevoir can still just apply pressure even under ability lock. So it might have been better just to knock out this active here. Because if he was able to do that, plus the path, there's a chance that Dylan might not actually even have a way to attack on this turn. So maybe Darryl made, a little bit of a misstep there. So Dylan's just checking his deck. Looks like the only Pokemon he has left there is going to be a Kirlia and another Gardevoir EX. So looks like there is going to be a Kirlia there. And he does have a single Temple of Sinnoh still in deck as well. So that's definitely going to be a very valuable card at this point, because that's his only way at bumping this Path to the Peak. And he is going to need that pretty soon, I would imagine. He definitely needs it if he wants to get a KO this turn, absolutely. So there is going to be the Iono here. Now, I'm curious, can he actually even get a KO on this Arceus V-Star at this point? So there's going to be the Temple. So right now Gardevoir is hitting for what? 90, 120, 150, 180. And if I'm seeing correctly, if he has 80 damage on this Gardevoir, that means 2 of his energies here are going to have to come from a combination of Shining Arcana and or a manual attachment. Because if he accelerates 2 more energies to this Gardevoir, it's going to put this Gardevoir up to 120 HP. And it can't actually have any others accelerated to it at that point. So here you can see Dylan's going to play, it looks like a Super Rod. And he might even have to do some weird shenanigans where he puts energy back into his deck. And yeah, it looks like that is what he's contemplating here. You can see he's kind of torn about it. Because he can accelerate one of those, but he does need to attach one and then probably Shining Arcana the other one on. Otherwise, he can't break above that 270 damage threshold that right now he's going to be capped around. So let's see, there's going to be the Shining Arcana. There is 1 energy. So now he needs to, what? Discard 1 with the Radiant Greninja and... Actually, he still might be 1 short here. Because if he uses concealed cards at Radiant Greninja and draws into another one, he's going to be hitting for, let's see, 90, 120, 50, 80, 10, 40. Yeah, I think he's still going to be a single attachment shy here. So he actually would have needed to have gotten 2 energies with the Shining ArcTina, which is, you know, it's a lot to ask for, and he did miss it here. And as a result, he's only going to be swinging for 270 this turn on this Arceus V-Star. So that feels bad. If he's just going to swing on this Arceus, not knock it out, and then Darrell's able to just go path knockout, it's a wrap at that point. Because again, I don't think Dylan has another way to actually get rid of another path to the peak at this point. If he does have another one, it's hiding somewhere in the prizes. But there's going to be the Squabit, so Darren's going to put his hand at the bottom of his deck and get a single card, but that's okay because of course he does have that Barrel in play with the Industrious Incisors ability. He's debating if he wants to get down this Pikachu V before using the Barrel, but he is going to opt to keep it, and he does find himself a path to the peak, and that's the big card I think he just absolutely needed to see here. So there's going to be the path, bumping the Temple of Sinnoh. And now at this point, like I said, guys, I think this one is pretty much a wrap. Again, unless there's something I missed, maybe there's a stadium in Dylan's deck or hand that I didn't see, but I think it's a wrap. Now, I will say, I do remember their game did go to time. I'm not sure at what point during the game it happened, but okay, there's going to be a boss's orders. Going for what I'm assuming is just a stall play and just a pass. Okay, so time actually might have been called if Dylan is going for this, because I think at this point he's just playing to not lose. He's playing for a tie at this point. He knows he can't win the game, but he can at least try to make sure he doesn't lose it. Okay, and Darrell did make a little bit of a mistake there. He benched 2 Pokemon, then tried to play 2 Nest Balls. You can't do that once your bench is full, but no big deal. He can put all of those at the bottom of his deck with the Squabit there, then refill his hand with the Barrel. And he does have double turbo energy, so he can retreat this Squabit out of harm's way and start putting on some pressure once again. But it looks like he's going to promote the Giratina here, since it's going to be a lot less beat up than that Arceus V-Star. And is that a Ultra Ball being played or a Judge? Okay, so he's playing Ultra Ball, failing the search, and then immediately playing Judge. So if he can find himself his Cleansing Gloves, he can actually take a knockout on this Gardevoir here. So let's see what ultimately happens. Big 4 cards. No Cleansing Gloves in sight. And okay, I'm guessing that must have been the last turn of time, guys. That should be a tie for this last round of the League Challenge. Kind of an anticlimactic conclusion to the tournament, I know, but still happy to show off, I think, a pretty good mix of decks throughout this entire tournament. So if you guys do want to see the other rounds, which I will say did actually complete their games, I will have all of those linked down below in the description for you to check those out as well. But if you guys did enjoy today's content, as always, remember to leave a like on the video, or maybe if you're feeling a little extra generous, you can also become a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg, or pick up some merch at rarecandytcg.com. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.